All right, we are in Algebra 1. We are on Lesson 4-2. Today's date is Wednesday, October 30th, 2019. We're talking about slope-intercept word problems today. All right, who can read our objective? First hand goes to Kira.
Okay. Oh, darn. Can I read them both?
Yeah.
Okay. Identify key features of slope-intercept and equations based on context.
So that's 50 XP, and you're going to also read your example 1.
Okay. Kira took a loan from a bank. D represents Kira's remaining debt in dollars. After T months, D equals negative 300T plus 6,000. What was the size of Kira's loan? How much does Kira pay off after 3 months?
There they are. And I basically take these problems from Khan Academy, I switch it to your names, and I make the equations slightly different. So you're going to be seeing almost the same problem, maybe for the homework. They have 12 different problems, and I chose 1, 2, 3 of them. So there's a good chance that you'll see some of these, obviously with not your name. I'll know, maybe sometimes it will be your name. That'll be really cool. That'll be a special event. All right, so what was the size of Kira's loan? What I want you guys to do is to talk in groups of 2 or 3 to come up with your answer. Go. All right, is there a quiet raised hand that wants to take a shot at it? Is there anyone aside from Kira who has already participated twice that wants to try it? Eamon, yeah.
You would have D equals negative 300, which is how much money she took each month, and 600 the initial amount of money that was in the bank. 6,000.
Yeah, and I think you're thinking of it in positive terms. You need to be thinking of this in terms of debt. So 6,000 was the original debt, and then you're paying off 300 each month. Yeah. So, what is the size of Kira's loan then, Eamon?
It would be 6,000.
It is indeed $6,000. Again, if you were thinking about this graphically, I would have the y-intercept be $6,000, which is usually your starting amount. Your y-intercept is usually, and it's not always, but it is usually your starting amount. If I'm thinking about it as a graph, I have a graph over here where I start at 6,000, 6,000, and I have a slope. I would say the slope is equal to negative 300, and eventually I will get down here to where Kira pays off all of the debt because she took out $6,000, and then eventually she will have no more debt after so many months. We don't know exactly when that is yet, and I don't think we will because it's not asking that type of question. The next question is, how much does Kira pay off after 3 months? Well, I know after 1 month, or after T months, I pay off T times negative 300. So after 3 months, how would I figure out how much Kira has paid off? I see 2 hands. It looks like the first one with the card up was Emma.
Oh wait, I need to pass it.
Thank you. Go for it, Emma. Ooh, careful. You almost have it, because right now this is 300 times T. So it's going to be... It is indeed, yeah. Essentially, you're plugging in 3 into this equation because months is T months. So I'm plugging in 3 for T. So I can say this is going to be equal to T. When I do that, I get negative 300 times 3. And do you know what that is, Emma? All right, we'll give it to someone else. You can call in someone. It's your choice, Emma. Who has their card still? Raise your card. Oh.
I have more stuff.
Would it be 9,000?
You're really, really close.
6,000.
You're a little bit farther. You got this. You got this. Keep going. Keep going. 900. Yeah, technically it's a negative 900, but if you're just paying off, you should think of it as a positive amount. You're paying off $900.
I was thinking 300 times 300.
Ah, okay. $900. Yeah, thank you guys. And people still get XP even though they're getting not quite the correct answer. All right. Before I move on, any questions on example number 1? Ozzy, did you have a question? No? All right. On to example number 2. I need someone to read. Who can read for us, please? Esha.
Eamon is working on an underground base in Minecraft. He is leaving his base to dig downward to create a mine shaft. A represents Eamon's altitude relative to the ground in blocks after T minutes.
No, it's in meters because it's actually in meters because each block is canonically known as one cubic meter.
So I thought about doing it in meters, but then I thought that also might confuse people that didn't know the fact that 1 block was 1 meter. So I assume that we're just going to do it in blocks, but you are totally correct, Eamon. All right, so we have our equation. Our equation is negative 25t minus 23, and I need to know these 3 things. First, how far underground is Eamon's underground base? Second, how fast does Eamon descend in blocks per second, or meters per second if you want to convert it? And finally, how many blocks will Eamon descend after 4 minutes? And I assume that that's actually too deep unless you're in the, I don't know, some modded version, but oh well. So I need you guys to talk with people next to you to answer these 3 questions. Go. All right, so quiet raised hand. How far underground is Eamon's underground base? Who still has a card? Larissa, yes. 23. How'd you get that?
I just looked at it and I said, okay, that's
I mean, yeah, it's either negative 25 or negative 23, right? Yeah, so you're correct. Thank you. Is there anyone else that can add on to Larissa's answer? Why did we choose negative, or why did we choose 23 in that case? Charles.
Because it's the y-intercept. It's the starting point.
Exactly, yeah. The y-intercept is usually the starting point. And we're asking, where did we start? We started at the underground base, and then we start digging down for the mine shaft. Yeah, thank you, Charles. What's up? Oh, yes, yeah. Not unless you have a jetpack or some extra mod, right? All right, so how fast does Eamon descend blocks per second or meters per second? Go for it, Wyatt.
I think he descends. Oh. Is it blocks per second?
Oh, that's a typo, huh?
Oh.
This
I did figure out blocks per second too, but.
Let's go do both of them. I'll give you double the XP. This should be per minute because
Okay.
if the problem told you T minutes, then this should match up with minutes as well. That's my mistake.
Okay.
But you did the extra math, so I want to see what it was.
Okay, so for minutes, I think that it would be negative. He would go down 25 blocks per minute because T is the variable for minutes and 25 is the coefficient. So I think he'd go 25 blocks down per minute. But in seconds, I don't know if this is correct, but I think that in 1 minute there is 60 seconds, so I think you'd have to divide 60 by 25, which then simplified would be 12 over 5. So I think it'd be like 2.2 1/5, 2.2 blocks per second.
Yeah, so I'm just showing the work. If you say 1 minute every 60 seconds, because 60 seconds in 1 minute, the minutes and minutes should cancel out because I have minutes on the top and the bottom. And my units are now blocks per second, which is what it originally was asking for, blocks per second. And then, yeah, if you actually do the math, you can see that 25 divided by 60, it actually reduces to a fraction. What is that going to be? It would be 5/12. And yeah, 5/12 is, again, the same number, 0.416 repeating. So 0.416 repeating blocks per second. They don't ask you those types of questions on Khan Academy, though. They don't want you to convert units. That was a unit that we kind of skipped over, which was, I think it was like a week's worth of working with units, but I skip it every year. Maybe one year I'll talk about it. Maybe if we have extra time at the end of this year, we'll do it. And then finally, how many blocks will Eamon descend after 4 minutes? 2 people know. 3 people know. Does anyone have their card? Oh yeah, Ugo. 100. How'd you get that? Oh, 20. Okay, so and 25 was your slope or your speed. So 25, and then you plug in 4 for T, and you got 100 blocks. All right, yeah, thank you. All right, so we are finally on to example number 3. No person involved here. I'm literally just copy pasting from Khan Academy and changing the numbers here. Quite raise hand to read. Jade.
Temperature can be measured in 2 different common units, degrees Celsius and degrees Fahrenheit. F represents the temperature in degrees degrees Fahrenheit as a function of the temperature C in degrees Celsius. Let me keep going.
Yes, please.
What is the temperature
Thank you.
increase in degrees Fahrenheit that is equivalent to a temperature increase by 20 degrees Celsius?
Perfect. Yeah, so that's kind of a difficult question, but I think a lot of you can solve this now. So again, just like always, we're going to talk to the left and right, and then we're going to present. So talk to at least one other person, groups of 2 or 3, figure this question out. All right, first of all, who knows how to do this? 1, 2, 3, kind of Charles. Larissa has it. Kira, talk to us.
I think it's 1.8 degrees because that would be the slope, and it's always increasing by 1.8.
Okay.
No matter what number you're multiplying it by, which is why there's a variable there. So,
So the answer is 1.8.
let's see. Well, would you multiply 1.8 by 20?
Why would I multiply 1.8 by 20?
I don't know, but it's up there.
Okay, you are actually correct, and this is the quickest way of finding the answer. It's just 1.8 times 20 is the answer. Essentially what we're saying is ignore your starting amount. We only care about the change. The change comes from the variable, the slope. If we have C, that's the degrees Celsius, 20 is degrees Celsius, so I can plug in 20 into C and I get 1.8 times 20. That is the change in degrees Fahrenheit. Although there is a harder way of doing it, and I saw a lot of people doing that way, and that will still work. So the harder way of doing it is saying, okay, well, if I start with your degrees Celsius, 20, and then you have to convert that over into Fahrenheit, and it's kind of a lot of work, but it can be done. So essentially what you say is, I start at 20 degrees, or I have to start at something. I don't actually, now that I think about it, it's actually really hard to do it the other way. The easiest way is just to plug in 20 multiplying that by 1.8, and you should get your answer. And again, Wyatt had this cool way, is it okay if I show your method?
Yeah, go ahead.
Wyatt essentially saw this as 1.8 first times 10 and then times 2, because 10 times 2 is 20. Whenever you multiply by 10, you move the decimal place to the right one, and then you double it. So this is really 18 times 2, and 18 times 2 is 36. So the correct answer is it's a change by 36 degrees Fahrenheit. Now is the time to ask questions. I know this one was a hard question.
So basically, in this one, you just ignore the 32.
Yeah, the 32 is the initial amount, and if it asked you what is the degrees in Fahrenheit, then you'd have to convert with the 32. But because it's asking for the, what is the equivalent change? What is the equivalent increase? So this is only asking for a change, not the actual temperature. That's the reason that we ignore the 32. All right, and then finally, can you guys give me a fist of 5 for our objective, which was to identify key features of slope-intercept equations based on context? How well can you do questions like 1, 2, and 3? Give me a fist of 5.
Now,
5, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Lots and lots of 4s. All right, thank you. Let's go ahead and switch over to Khan Academy. If you have not turned in your participation card, please do that now.